Hey, thank you for being a member of our online community. Thank you for opening this email. If you're new to this community, welcome. What we do here is go a little bit deeper than we would on YouTube, because here we have less evident and obvious restrictions, and we get more opportunity to connect directly with you and let you know exactly what we're up to. The community event is just 3 weeks away. We're going to release a few more tickets for you. There's a link in the description to get them. We'll tell you how to find accommodation. There's accommodation right nearby. Lovely little glamping pods. You can get them. Elsewhere in this video, I'm going to tell you about our live podcast recording with Gabor Mate. It was absolutely fantastic. I'm going to answer some of your questions. But I want to use this opportunity to celebrate the fact that we have finished our 33 tour. We performed at 32 venues across the UK, including football stadiums and cliff tops. You know, have you seen the video of me with those dolphins? They weren't actually on the stage. That would be cruel. It's not SeaWorld. They were swimming around in the background, pulling focus. We sold 50,358 tickets and 60,000 cookies were consumed because Sandy Pan's mum, Shashi Kala, made 60,000 cookies with other volunteers from the Hare Krishna community, and each seat had a cookie placed on it. Now, some people were a little bit cynical and suspicious about the idea of having a cookie at a gig, because there's some cult connotations, I think, for attending one of my live events. And I think once people start issuing biscuits, it's just one step away from Kool-Aid. But I felt most appreciative, and I want to take this opportunity to thank you, Shashi Kala, personally and directly. Thank you for your devotion. Thank you for this prashad and darshan. Prashad, yes. Thank you for providing us with a sacred and sugary component to our beautiful tour. It was so wonderful. I really, really appreciated it. We're going to have to do some more events because it was like 32 dates and the tour was called 33. So I feel like, we have to wrap that up because, as you know, 33 is my lucky number. And I will specify and clarify once again, not because I'm in the Illuminati. I know you would say that. I'm definitely not in the Illuminati. Now, you can get free tickets for community. If you're in the UK and you can get to Hay on Wye on the 10th of July and want to join us but can't afford it, send an email to hello@russellbrand.com and in the subject put "Get me a ticket." And if you're concerned about where you're going to stay, because I'm going to be there, I'm going to stay there the night before on the 9th, and I will stay there the day of on the 10th. There are glamping pods available. They're like 100 meters away. There's a link to find out more in the description. If you want a cheaper solution, there's a link in the description for a local self-pitch campsite. And of course, all around the town of Hay, there are other options. But these glamping pods, that's like 100 meters away. So that's super convenient. That's a great way to do it. You know, I told you that we were doing a live podcast. Well, we did it, and it was magnificent. Gabor Mate came here to our Crown HQ, and we did an interview with him with 70 people in a barn. Just 70 because of building regulations. We can't get more people in there at the moment. People were offered parking at a stately home round the corner, Stonor Park, and were bought by tractor. Have a look at this to the event. Can you imagine? Isn't that just a blissful thing to participate in? Being dragged by a vintage tractor to an event where Gabor Mate talks to you live about mental health and the nature of addiction. It was magnificent. It was beautiful. We're going to do more things like that. If you want, send us an email and tell us who you would like to see in a live space, and be practical and reasonable. Don't say like Batman or something. We can't get Batman. We probably could get Christian Bale or Adam West. Is he still alive? We could really get someone who's played Batman. I'm just saying, who would you like to see live for a live interview that we will record and broadcast? But if you want to attend, you can, because we're going to do maybe 30, 40 times a year. We're going to do this sort of thing. I can't always guarantee a tractor, but there will always be a novel way of traveling. If you open these emails regularly, right, you'll know that a couple of weeks ago, a woman called Linda wrote in to tell us about the death of her son. Have a look. Linda Rutkowska says, "I'm a strong follower of you and your work. My son finally lost his battle with life and himself last week from an accidental heroin overdose. He was many years an addict with the attendant chaos. He was 43. We're a close family, but life's been a roller coaster. He too was a great fan, and we came to see you in Plymouth." Oh, shit, man, that's so recent. Because he was using again, he found the occasion too much and we had to leave. I'm writing to ask if you had any advice how to manage our overwhelming grief. We loved him, supported him, and in many respects kept him alive this long. Thank you for the bits of wisdom that did help him. Firstly, Linda, I'm so sorry for the loss of your son. Well, she wrote to us again here saying, thank you Such a personal response was overwhelmingly helpful. She's speaking about me here in second person because she perhaps didn't know that I was going to answer this. But Linda, I am responding to it. So thank you for saying this. I'm going to read it out, Linda. I hope that's okay with you. Such a personal response was overwhelmingly helpful. He gets it, really gets it. And where he was most helpful was on the spiritual side. Sam related to it. And in grief, I'd lost that connection for a while. I needed help to get it back. I know it was not my fault. I know it was his time. But Russell added the necessary layer to help me move forward. I thank him for the genuine human warmth and honesty of that video. Now, I feel a little bit embarrassed reading something like that out because it's like being nice about me. But I want to let you know that this is a legit community. And when you're going through serious things like grief and the most unimaginable pain of losing a child or anybody that you love, but obviously as a parent myself, I particularly connect to that type of grief, then we want to be there for you. We want to create community spaces where you can bring the things in your life that mean the most to you, whether they are beautiful or painful. So Linda, thank you for engaging with us in this communication, because the word community and the word communication both contain commune, togetherness, unity, our common unity together. These are the things we're interested in exploring, both online, like we are now, but also in physical spaces. That's why it's important to me that you get the opportunity to come here physically and see Gabor Mate and hear him and ask him questions. He was answering people's personal questions, like one woman who's struggling to deal with her son. He talked about where did she feel the pain in her body. He was like, this dude is a serious contemporary shaman, if you ask me. Like, this was my favourite bit of the whole experience. This woman said to him, what would you do if you wanted to help a young person who was depressed? Gabor goes, who is the young person? Because it's different if you're a therapist or a teacher or if you're a parent. She goes, it's my child. He goes, how do you feel when you think about the depression? And she goes, I feel empty. He goes, well, firstly, you're not going to help this person from a place of emptiness. And that was like a record scratch for me, because I thought, wow, this guy's getting serious. But he said it with total love and compassion. But how can you help anyone from a place of emptiness? Then he said, where do you feel this emptiness in your body? And she pointed to her heart. He said, have you felt this emptiness before? And she said, yeah. He goes, the emptiness that you feel is not about him. You have to deal with yourself before you deal with your child. I thought, bloody hell, man, this is some serious gear we're getting in real time. This community that we're creating, it ain't just about frivolity. Even though there are aspects of what we do that are about quite fundamental and practical things, we want you to come to this community event. This will involve you handing over some money. It costs us a lot of money to stage this event. We're not making any money from this event. We're going to give any money that we make from it back to good causes, like the Stay Free Foundation that we've started helps people with mental health addictions, like Sam, who has been lost already, and people that are in recovery. This is the kind of thing that we are interested in building. We have practical considerations, but more important than that, we have ideological considerations, and those are the things that I particularly want to address with you. And on the subject of the Stay Free Foundation, we asked you last week if you thought we should accept advertising money within this email that we would then donate to the Stay Free Foundation. We put up a poll. The poll looked like this. 67% of you voted yes, get the ad and give the money. So I guess democratically, I mean, it's not a humdinger. I would have liked 90%, but 67% will take it. So there will be ads in this email, and we will donate that money to the Stay Free Foundation. We give the money to organisations like BAC O'Connor, that's a drug addict place up in Stoke in the UK, to Friendly House over in Los Angeles, that's a women's retreat centre. Treasures in East London, they're a women's halfway house place. But we give private donations and grants as well. So if you need our help, email us at help@russellbrand.com and put in the subject, that you are applying for a grant or you're applying for help, and as this charity gets together, and it might take a while, we'll help you if we can. Also, what we do here is we respond to your comments on our videos on the platform of YouTube. We did a video called While You're All Distracted by Russia, Putin, oligarchs, they're the real baddies, right? And on top of it, they're to blame for hyperinflation and our current economic struggles. That's that settled then. Here are some of your comments on that video. His word is his life, who's been a subscriber for 1 year. Thank you for subscribing, mate. Said, nothing will change until we redo our entire governmental system. It feeds itself and supports corruption. I like the old Roman system where each person who voted for laws were picked randomly from the entire population and paid their normal wage while serving. They had a limited term of 2 years and were not elected. This principle of assembly is something that Yanis Varoufakis talks about a lot, mate, and I think it's an interesting idea because it ends the professional class of corrupt politicians. It ends that process of people getting into politics and then taking jobs at some big firm that they legislated favourably for. I love that idea, that Roman system, mate. Good idea. Well done. You're exactly the kind of person we want subscribing, coming up with rational, reasonable arguments for new types of democracy. CCFI Fresno says, and you've been a subscriber for 2 months, mate. Thanks for being with us. That's what I keep saying. It ain't right versus left. They're just keeping us occupied with their drama against each other, which is meant to keep us arguing with each other and not noticing how they're stealing from us, swiping our rights as we sleep because we're exhausted from fighting with each other. Listen to me carefully. Divide and conquer. Oh, Joe Bescario, CCFIF Fresno. I like your aggressive stance there. And this is from Lewis Dundas, a subscriber for 7 months. I once tried to open a foreign bank account to hold assets in euros back in 2009. I was told I couldn't do it because it was against the law. I asked the bank why it was against the law for me, but rich people can. They said something like, well, that's different. Well, that's not good enough, is it, mate? This is the kind of corruption that we're fundamentally opposed to. Thank you so much, all of you that are subscribers. If you don't subscribe to the YouTube channel yet, you should subscribe now. And thank you for joining us on this journey. And thanks for being so intelligent and providing us with such brilliant comments. As you know, we answer questions from you. Here are some more questions that you've asked this week. Amit Mahal says, I sometimes think I need to feel like I have a purpose to my days and in my life. But how does one find a purpose for themselves when they already feel their life lacks any? What are you intuitively led towards? If you don't feel like that there's any personal ambition, like I want to be a fireman, or I want to overthrow the government, or I want to become a horticulturalist, you should think about where you are needed in this world. Sometimes we don't feel fulfilled because all we think about is personal fulfillment. I'm more in that category. And I'm sure there are other people that just feel adrift in various ways. If you are adrift in this manner, Ami, and it sounds like you are, think about how you can be useful in the lives of people and organisations around you, where your aid, your attention and time will be valuable, will help the people that are most vulnerable. Our Lord, Jesus Christ, if you're a Christian, said, feed and clothe the poor. Like, this is the meaning, always. Feed and clothe the poor. So if you are in doubt, think, where am I needed? Purpose will emerge from this. And this question is from Christy. She says, I have an addictive personality. My latest addiction is food. When I was younger, drugs, alcohol, and any form of escaping my feelings. How do you stop constantly looking for something to make you feel better? I'm scared if I tackle that, I'll be finding myself looking for something else to help me make me feel better. How did you turn your life around? Christy, the truth is, I'm still like that, mate. I'm always looking for something to fulfill me, some external thing to make me feel better. I used to think that the drug addiction was the beginning of my experience of addiction. It wasn't. It was just another expression of a pattern that was present from childhood. The way I ate chocolate when I was a kid was obsessive. The way I looked at porn when I was a teenager was obsessive. The way that I clung to my mum was obsessive. As Gabor Mate brilliantly explains, all mammals have a need for close contact and nurture. If we can't fulfill these needs in our most intimate relationships, in our most ordinary familial connections, we will find other ways of seeking out that intimacy. The reason you have that addictive personality thing that is plastic and can be applied to numerous things is because that's exactly what addiction does. And Gabor Mate, in his definition of addiction in the conversation we had the other day, said that addiction could be regarded as any short-term behaviour you indulge in for pleasure, even though it has negative long-term effects. And when you want to stop it, you can't stop it. I think I added that last bit. That's addiction. So, mate, what you have to address, again, this is Gabor, not me, is what need are you trying to fulfill? Do you feel disconnected? Do you feel lonely? Are you in pain? How are we going to address this pain? You have to undergo a spiritual journey. This is why the 12 steps are so effective. Now, I've done a whole series on the 12 steps, and I'm going to do more. But you can find the assets on the website, russellbrand.com, the 12-step process. You can read my book, Recovery. You can also look at the series I did over the last few months here on these mailing list videos where I talked one by one, talked you through the steps. You can also join a community. You're right. The food, the drugs, the sex, whatever it is, it's irrelevant. Unless you deal with the underlying issue, you will manifest these problems elsewhere. So you need to go on a spiritual journey. You need to awaken from the illusion that you can fulfill yourself externally, mate. And you will be able to do it because one thing you said that was absolutely true is I have been able to do it. It goes in and out and it ain't done perfectly, but what things are. If you want help of that nature, please email help@russellbrand.com. If you just want to chat, email hello@russellbrand.com. Thank you for joining us on the tour. If indeed you did see us, we'll probably do some new dates soon. Please, God, well, at least one more because we've got to get it up to 33. We're going to do more of those live events. Tell us who you'd like to see in those live events and please continue to send us your questions. But more important than any of that, Stay free.